Hello and thank you for watching my videos. What we have here is a Bosch KBR 213 and we just finished the installation. We're waiting for the inspector. And again, these boilers are great in tight spaces. This one is heating only. And to access the controls, this little magnetic strip flips down. And on our left side is our radiation control, where we would adjust for radiation. Here we have it at max, so because we have hydronic baseboard. And here we're not using it for domestic hot water. This is a heating only boiler, so we have that part off. And right now it's not calling, as you can see right here. The flame is not on. Looking at the existing water line here, comes down here, we have a new ProPress shutoff valve, backflow preventer, and auto feeder, pressure regulator, and an isolation valve, so we can replace this without having to shut and drain the whole system. And this goes up into our spiral vent. Here we have an isolation valve for, there's some dust on it, for our circulator, and here's our other isolation for the circulator, so we could just isolate totally the circulator and replace it without having to shut the whole system. And this system is series baseboard, but it's a split loop, so we have 2 loops here. That's why we have extra valves and only 1 circulator. On our return, we have a Webstone combination purge valves, which are excellent for purging a system. They you connect a hose here, shut this off here, and open this up, and purges all the air out. And again, when you're purging with the Khalifi, one of the benefits of using this device is that you can crank up the pressure to just under 30, say 25 pounds, and not worry about blowing the relief valve off when you're purging, and then drop it back down to the pressure you want. You know, generally it's 12 to 15 pounds, depending on the height of the building. But for most applications, 12 to 15 pounds is sufficient. And that way, the Watts 911 is a great auto feeder too, the combination. But what happens is if you just flip the fast fill, a lot of times you'll blow the relief valve, which is back here on these Bosch heaters. This goes off at 30 pounds. And the way I do these is I thread in a nipple and a 90 looking down. I know some guys, they come right off of this with a male adapter, a piece of copper, and then a copper 90 looking down. But if you have to replace the relief valve, it's so much easier to do it mechanically by just taking this out, spinning this 90 out, and then spinning the relief valve, instead of having to solder or press something in. This boiler is fitted with a low water cutoff. It's the hydro level 1100, and this boiler is set up for it to receive it, and that's what they recommend from the factory. Here's our gas. Comes over, testing port. We have 2 gas valves because this is existing, and if the inspector really wanted to test these little nipples, I can throw a gauge on it. He's unlikely to do that, but you never know. So I left a T there, a test T. On the electric side, here's our isolation switch. This kills everything. And then here's our transformer. The only purpose of this is to power the low water cutoff. And there's our outlet for our condensate pump. So the condensate comes in here. Again, this is a condensing boiler. Drops into, this is a trap, a neutralizer that I made. And I just make them out of drum traps. There's different ways of making them. On this application, I just decided to use a drum trap. And just a regular 1.5-inch drum trap comes down in here. You put your neutralizing stones in here, and out of here you reduce it to your 3/4. And that's not how you would do a drain in a house, but it's condensate, it's technically not plumbing, so it's acceptable. And this is a little vent tee to relieve any vacuum issues, running through the trap. These boilers come set up with a low loss header built into them. And what you do is if you're using them, if you're tying the supply and return in directly and using this as a low loss header, you remove this little plunger. This comes with the boiler. It looks old and rusty, but it's actually brand new. It just sits like that in the factory. And so the main heating pump pumps across this, and the internal pump, which is right here, pumps from these little tubes to this low loss header. And so if you had an external hydraulic separator or an external low loss header, you would put that plunger back in. Here's our condensate trap. And so the products of combustion create water. It goes down here and out the little hose on the back, which you can't really see from here. So looking inside the combustion chamber, the air intake and exhaust combination fitting are way in the back there, a little hard to see, can't get any closer. Here is our fan, which pumps in, which blows into the combustion chamber, which is right here. There's a little window, and we have a flame sensor and igniter. So on this boiler, the gas comes in from this black hose into the gas valve, which is down here, and then comes up across. I have had in the past these units, there's a little check valve in here. I've had those get stuck before, and I had they recommend putting baby powder on that check valve if it sticks, and then increasing the boot startup to like 80%, so that it starts off with more suction. And here's our cleaning access port. So if we had to service this, we would just, after it was depowered, unbolt these and clean out the inside.